Hello and welcome. You're listening to Start Again with Shauna Lee, the place where you will be reminded that it's never too late and you're never too old to do the damn thing. So stick around if you're ready to vibe higher and be inspired to chase your dreams. Together, we will uncover your soul's truest desires. Now, if you're ready, let's get started. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to another episode. I am introducing you to a new internet friend today, Donna. And listen, I have messed up her last name a couple of times, so I'm going to let her introduce herself with her full name. Donna, thank you so much for being here.
It is a pleasure to be here and share with you today. I always love these conversations when we're never sure where they'll go and see
Exactly.
all the enlightening things that we're going to highlight together. My name is Donna Tashijan. I am the founder and CEO of Vibrant Living International.
Lovely. Well, thank you for being here. I am excited. I do like to just see where the conversations go. So I love to start with an intro, tell people about you and your business and the books you've written. But specifically, the way I like to kick it off and to frame the whole conversation is, how have you embraced this idea of starting again?
Where do you want me to begin on that? That is a, um, I could go a lot of different places with that
Yes.
particular question. I guess I will begin as far as I am a life mastery coach and I empower people, spirit, soul, and body, so that they can have a vibrant life. That's my heart mission, to help people do that.
Love
And
it.
I have been doing what I would have been calling more mentoring, but still a form of coaching for over 25 years. When I started, we didn't call it coaching.
Yes.
But it was always this thing that I did on the side. I didn't make a living off of it.
Hmm.
I was doing other things and raising children and all the things that we do throughout
Yes.
life,
Yes.
through our younger years, if you will. And I never really thought about it. It was just part of what I did. I met people regularly. Tuesday at 10 o'clock, I'll see you. And I just continued to do that through all the times that I was raising my family and that kind of thing. And so I hit in my mid 40s, my later 40s, and I began to say, what do I want? What do I want to do?
Yes.
What do I love? And so as we often do, we minimize what's possible.
Yep.
And so I took a job at a nonprofit organization, thinking that was going to give me an avenue to develop these things that I wanted to do, that I saw
Sure.
in my heart. It didn't turn out that way.
Yep.
Uh, it ended up being a very toxic place. We mutually left, but they asked me to go, and I had put all my eggs in that basket.
Oh, yes.
By now, I'm 49 and I'm about to hit 50. Anybody else out there hit those age groups and all the stuff that's going on the inside? Not to give too much information, but I'm premenopausal.
Yeah.
And so there's all of this going on. And now I've been fired,
Yep.
kicked to the curb. You don't matter. We don't need you. All of those kind of feelings. And I'm like, well, I know there's something more I'm supposed to do. I
Yes.
know it's bigger than I've experienced so far. I just know it, but I can't completely see it. And how do I get there? And I did not feel vibrant
Yes.
at all
Yes.
at that time. I felt unwanted. Did I have any
Huh.
value? Would anybody care if I was even here?
Yep.
So I took myself through a process that I had taken other people through. First of all, I'm mad at myself that I'm feeling so low because I know better
Yeah. Oh
and that
my
I'm having
gosh.
all these
Yes.
thoughts. So it's just this never ending cycle of I feel like crap and then I'm beating myself up.
Yep. Yep. Yeah.
You relating?
I am totally relating to the I know better. Why am I in this terrible feeling place? Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I took myself through a process of what I teach. One of the things I teach is okay, so what's my future look like if I stay right here?
Yes.
If I stay in this sadness, this darkness, this hopelessness. How is my future going to look? And is that the woman I want to be known for? And of course, the answer is absolutely no.
Right.
So who do you want to be? And so getting the image of, I wanted to be a woman who was resilient, who overcome obstacles, who bounced back, who was full of inspiration and encouragement, not down and depressed and
Mm-hmm.
yucky.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to leave a legacy for my kids and my grandkids. I wanted to create wealth. I wanted to make an impact. I wanted to do all of these things, but from the place I was with the information I currently had, I wasn't there yet. So what did I need? And I began to, someone said, you need to become a coach. Well, coaching wasn't the word we used when I started this. All I
Right.
knew was an athletic coach screaming at people on the
Right.
sidelines. I'm like, that's not me.
Yeah.
So someone said, no, I'm talking about a different kind of coach. So I went back to school at age 50 to learn how to do what I was naturally gifted at,
Yep.
even better. And it's been over 10 years now. And learning how to take, I named it Vibrant Living International when I didn't know how it would be, if anybody in my own town would even know
Yes.
me.
Yeah.
And that was my vision and that was my dream. Where I am today, I have clients in different countries. And I've written 4 books. I've had a podcast for 6 years. I'm going on 6 years, 5 years now. It's starting my 6th year. All of these things that I felt like a piece of trash nobody wanted,
Mm-hmm.
to where I am today, and learning how to take those leaps where you feel like Geronimo jumping off a cliff and will this even work? When I said yes to going back to school, I had lost a job. I didn't have the money to invest in
Yes.
myself, and I didn't even know if I was worth it.
Yeah.
But I did it anyway.
I love
And on
that.
my first call with the future coach there is, what do you see? And I got caught up in the vision that God had placed in my heart of what I saw past my current circumstances. We often limit what is possible by what we've previously experienced.
Oh, sure.
And that's not the way to live vibrantly. Anyway, you probably have questions. I'll get carried away here.
No, I love it. I mean, I could and do say all of the things that you have been saying. It is a story that I resonate with, but tell us about the books you've written.
The first one I no longer share.
Okay.
We always have the beginning books, but
Yes.
it was How to Set Yourself Free was basically the premise of it. And it
Mhm.
was the first book that I wrote.
Yes.
And as people started telling me, you're an author, and I limited how much limiting we do.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
The next book I wrote is called From Frazzled to Freedom.
Okay.
And how to go for exactly what that says. It's full of stories and tips on how to go from a place of feeling frazzled
Yes.
to freedom, where you feel like you're in your sweet spot and things are going well. So that is the second book. The third book I wrote is called The Key to Transform Your Life.
Okay.
And that is the importance of the words we speak.
Oh my
The
gosh. Yes.
declarations, the affirmations. Why is that important? And then it goes further to give you 30 days of affirmations that you can do. They're all different, that you can begin to say every day, and you will see your life transformed in 30 days. You will be in a different place at the end of 30 days. So that book. And my fourth book, An Umbrella on a Sunny Day,
Oh, okay.
was my fourth book. And that is my story of becoming a teenage mom.
Mhm.
And it was not consensual. So there's a story there as well.
Yeah.
And how I got, when I call an umbrella on a sunny day, is that thought that, oh, look, it's sunny out, but I know it's going to rain on me sooner or later.
Yep.
So I better bring my umbrella.
Yep.
It's preparing for the other shoe to drop,
Yep.
expecting the worst.
That's the phrase I
And
use.
how I went from that to where I am today. And it's full of also other women's stories that I've coached on how they did the same. So
Oh,
that's that
fun.
book.
I love it. I love it. Well, okay, so that's a lot of books that you've written. That's very impressive, and I'm sure you've heard that before. What do you think surprised you most on this journey of yours to becoming this business owner and author of multiple books? What do you think was the most surprising part of that journey?
How much fun I'm having doing the things that I thought were scary.
Mhm. Isn't it funny how it works out that way?
Yeah, I think that's one of the I remember standing in front of an audience once speaking, and it was almost like I had an out of body experience. I'm looking at myself going, "Look at how much fun you're having."
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and so I think that's,
That
one of the things is
perfectly describes my experience with this podcast. I was terrified to start this
yeah.
podcast. And I was like, who the hell am I to do this crazy thing? Is anybody going to listen? I got wound up in all the tiny little details that don't actually matter. And one day before I knew it, I was having a blast. And
Mhm,
I was knee deep in, and I've learned a lot in terms of setting boundaries and schedules and things like that. But there was one day in particular where I had 4 interviews scheduled that day, which is a lot in a day.
mhm.
And I was just kind of dreading the day and, oh my gosh, let me just get through it. And after every single conversation I had, I was energized and lit up and just came bursting. I record in my closet, like bursting out of my closet. And I was like, this is so amazing. Like, I get to do this, just talk to
Yep.
people all day. It was amazing. And I thought, okay, so I've learned a little bit. I can put some boundaries in place. I can figure out how to, not take on too much in a day. And it was one of the scariest things I've ever done that I was very intimidated to do. And then I was very overwhelmed. And now I'm just having a blast.
Yep,
And I love it. And I think
yep,
when we lean into those things that scare us a little bit, but we think we might be good at it, or something is calling us to do the thing. That's how I feel about the book I've
yep.
written and the next one I'm writing. Like I think the story is in us. It's asking to be told, whether that's pulling in other people's stories to share. And I just think when we lean into that, we end up having a lot of fun along the way.
Yeah.
So I love that that was your answer. So when you look back at the younger you who had yet to experience some of these different meandering aspects of your journey, what advice would you give her, the younger you?
Hmm. Probably a really common thing is to take a little bit more risk and to learn things quicker. But I think everything was perfect timing too through it
Hmm.
all. So it's not like I have any regrets of anything along the way, but to have more fun and not be so serious would be one of the things.
Yeah.
I could have been called
Called uptight.
uptight in the past.
I'm pretty sure I have been.
Wound really tightly and
Yes.
always feeling
Yes.
like I'm behind
Yeah.
and,
Oh gosh, yes.
a little bit of sharpness to my voice because I'm rushing and stressed and all of those things. And I would have said to relax and to enjoy life a little bit more
Hmm.
and learn. And the things that I've learned to do that. One of the things that I teach is how to have your dreams from a place of ease and grace.
Yes.
We don't
So
have to have the
important.
struggle. It doesn't have to be hard when we learn the secrets to do it from that place.
Yeah.
So I think that would be the main thing I would say.
I love that. And I could not agree more. I do appreciate that you said take risks because that actually is not a common answer that I hear a lot of people say. That just relax and have more fun kind of works its way into the most of the conversations. But the taking risks, I think, is one thing I see people still really hesitant to do. And
Mhm.
I think risk taking can be small. It doesn't have to be, jump off a cliff
Yes.
moments. But those moments that you allow yourself to risk something is usually like the payoff is so big in my
Yeah.
experience.
Well, in one of my favorite books, U Squared, If you haven't read that one, that's one of my favorite is and they talk about that there's always a risk.
Yeah.
There's a risk to staying where I am. I just don't
Yes.
always look at it that way. So there's always a risk.
Yeah.
I can stay where I am or I can try something new, and there's always a risk because every one of them has a different results.
Mhm.
And so
So true.
it's calculating what you want to choose. One of the biggest things that helped me to become is what does being visible even mean?
Mhm.
If people notice you, if people begin to respond to you, what are you expecting? What do you think will happen?
Yeah.
When where my visibility, I call it your visibility story because we all have a story.
Oh, for sure.
And my visibility story was, okay, so what happens if the boss calls you into their office? Are you expecting to be promoted or are you expecting you're in trouble?
Mhm.
And what is if someone calls your name, what are you expecting? Did you mess up something or are they looking to praise you?
Yes.
That's like what is being visible. If you post something and people comment, are you expecting it to be great or not? And
Yeah,
we all have this inner story of what we're expecting when we're noticed.
for
And
sure.
mine was I was always in trouble.
Mhm.
It was never good. And those kind of feelings from my growing up.
Right.
And so being visible meant people were going to criticize me and make fun of me or treat me poorly or whatever. So it was easier. I felt it was not the risk was better to stay quiet.
Yep. Yep.
So learning how to overcome those kind of things so that you can step into your purpose at whatever stage in life you are. But there are so many studies that people between 60 to 80 accomplish more in their life than they did the previous years.
Yes.
There is so much wisdom. There is so much if we could just go for it.
For sure. And it's this is my show, so I can say all the words I want to, but it's the zero fucks given. It is the older we get, the less we care about those things that, previously, I think the younger versions typically
Mhm,
get bogged down with those caring too much about what other people think.
mhm,
And I think the reason those studies show that is because by the time you get to those ages, and I'm including myself in that, uh, you realize people really are not paying as much attention to you as you
oh,
have worried that they might be. And
no.
so you're like, well, who cares? Let's just go do this crazy fun thing. Yeah, no, I love that. That's all so good. So good. Tell me about the favorite type of client. Who's your ideal client? Who do you love working with the most?
I love working with, inspired change makers, people who want to just like me, wanting to make a difference in the world and not sure exactly how.
Yes.
I have created a balanced blueprint academy to be able to help them have the dream and create that blueprint to achieve their dream from a place of ease and grace so that they don't feel like they're having to sacrifice something. So that is my favorite.
Yeah, I love that. And I like to ask this question to my guests occasionally when they are kind of in the business that you are. For the people out there who are kind of sitting there scratching their heads saying, I don't really know what my purpose is. What's the first little tip that you would give them to point them in the right direction?
One of my blogs I wrote is little hinges move big doors. And so many of the time when I say, what is your purpose? What is your destiny? How do you want to be known?
Right.
We all think it needs to be something super grandiose.
Yes.
When you can change the world with one act of kindness after another.
Yep.
And so, what is something that you love? What is something that you're passionate about? What is something that you're good at that you minimize?
Hmm.
Now that's no big deal.
That's the
And
one that I
begin
usually focus on as well because it's the thing that you're good at
Yeah,
that you don't even give a thought
yes.
to because it's so easy
Yes.
and so fun and so second nature. It's not until you look around and realize that other people are not good at that thing that you realize
Yeah.
that's your tool in your toolbox to pay
Yep.
attention to. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
My daughter often tells me, "Mom, you do have no idea that you realize that you know all the things that you know. You just assume everybody knows them,
Yes.
and not everybody knows them." And so begin to start small. Don't minimize the small beginnings. As you said,
Mhm.
just do one thing,
Yes.
whatever that is that you're passionate about. Get some support.
Yes.
Um, if not you, me, I'm sure that there's places that you know of as well that we can help guide you
Yeah.
and create a plan so that you can take small baby steps
Yep. That's
to move
that's my
forward. You
favorite
don't have to
phrase.
do a Geronimo like I did.
Yeah, yeah. I'm here for the jump off the cliff moments. I've had
Yeah.
several of those, many in my
Hmm.
lifetime. But one of my favorite things to tell people is baby steps are better than no steps.
Absolutely.
Just taking a step forward, a little tiny nudge in the direction that you're wanting to go is better than doing nothing at all.
Well, how do you start a journey of a million steps?
Right?
How do you eat an elephant? I mean, all of those sayings are there for a reason. It's like
Yep.
you do it one bite, one step at a time.
Yep.
And
And
it's
some days
so
they
what
are
is
big giant leaps, and some days they are like tiny little inches. You're just
yes.
baby stepping forward. Like they can't all be big leaps of faith.
No, I don't think our heart could handle it.
No, it really couldn't. It really couldn't. So, when you look forward, what do you now believe is possible for your own life?
Mm. Continue to expand what I'm doing and just continuing to grow the reach that I am having so that I can help other people make a bigger impact,
Mm,
leave a legacy, and create wealth in their life. So to step into vibrancy, whatever that looks like for them. And the other thing that we step into is we compare. It's like
yes.
if I compare myself to you, even if we did something similar, we're both podcasters,
Yep.
but we don't have the same. And
Right.
so I don't need to compare. I just need to be me because that's where my greatness lies.
Yes.
And that's where the being authentic, that's where your superpowers are.
Exactly.
It's you being you, 100% you, and improving that every day as much as you can so that you can be the best you can be. And that's how we step into our purpose and our dreams and our destiny.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes, absolutely. And I think when we're thinking about what's possible for our lives, I think, or figure out what our purpose is, or what should I be doing? It typically comes back to we feel like we need to accomplish something, we need to contribute something, we need to
Mhm.
do something. And one of the big shifts that I have made recently is okay, that's all fine and well. You want to go and do and have some amazing things. Who do you want to be? How
Mhm.
do you want to be? And I think when we come back to that, like if you listen to Abraham Hicks, they're all about the feelings, right? Like follow the good feelings. But truly, how do you want to be? Okay, you want a lot of money. Great. How's that going to feel? How do you want to be when you have a lot of money? Because you're going to be the same that you are today as you will be then. You'll just have more money. Like that whole how do I want to be is really a good shift for me personally that I
Mm.
have noticed, because it's not about the stuff. It's not about
Yeah,
what we
it's not.
create. It's how we're feeling, how we're maneuvering, how are we, that phrase, people won't remember what you said. They might remember
Yes.
something that you did, but they're going to remember how you made them feel. That's the stuff to focus on. So anyways, I don't know where all that came
Yeah.
from, but that's what came to
Yeah,
mind based
I
on what
I
you were
had
sharing.
I had used that example when I was talking about how I came through the darkness period is who did I want to be known for?
Yep.
Who did I want to be? That's what I was leaning towards. And as you were telling that, it was like I think that, the movie It's a Wonderful Life came to mind.
Hmm.
And his life did not go how he planned, but when he was missing, how different the world was. And I
Right.
think that most of the time we minimize the impact we have made in people's lives,
Oh, for sure.
or that we still can make
Yes.
in people's lives as we become more authentic and just have more fun doing what we love.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. So tell us a little bit about your podcast.
My podcast, when I first started it, was called You Were Designed for Greatness. And this year I have rebranded it to match the name of my company, and it's called the Vibrant Living Podcast.
Love it.
Same thing,
Yes.
just a different name. So, when I first got my coach that helped me launch my podcast, she said, "What do you want people to know?
Mhm.
What are your what message?" That they were designed for greatness and how to get there.
Yeah.
And so that's what it began with me interviewing other people, sharing their stories of overcoming adversity and how they stepped into their greatness. Most of them would say, "Oh, I'm not great."
Mm.
I would do all of that. And so I have 4 years of that, or 5 years of that kind of interviews, and as well as me sharing things by myself. So, and then this year, it's now called the Vibrant Living Podcast.
That's awesome. So how often do you publish episodes?
Beginning this year, I've been doing once a month, and I am trying to simplify. We
Yes.
will see how it does throughout the year.
Yeah. Well, and that's a really good point that you are making without realizing you're making it. I think a lot of people get stuck on, and I found myself falling into this when I first started my show. You get stuck into the very rigid way of looking at like it needs to be this way, or I need to be twice a week or once a week, and it can't change is the catch. And what I would love more than anything else for everyone to realize is you always get to change your mind. You are in charge of your life. You get to change your
Yep.
mind. So if you want to start your podcast and then you want to change the frequency of the episodes, like you get to do that. You get to
Yeah, I
decide.
used to do it every other week.
Yeah,
I did that, and I chose that because it's what I could feel like I could maintain.
exactly.
My primary purpose is to coach. And so podcast was something that I felt like I wanted to add, and that's fun, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I still enjoy it, but it isn't. And so my primary purpose is to have more time to coach. And so therefore, as I'm growing, I am choosing to simplify in some of the areas, making white space for growth.
Yep.
One of my favorite statements from one of my coaches it was a New Year's resolution kind of meeting. It's like, what are you going to do for the year?
Yeah, yeah.
And they started it with, so what are you going to let go of?
Yes. Oh my
What are you
gosh.
not going to do that you did last year? And I'm like, what? I think it's
Yeah,
adding
yeah, yeah, yeah.
more.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's letting go of things and making
Mhm.
space to enjoy life, whatever that is. So yes, we are the creator of our life. We get to choose. And it isn't up to whether you think I should do it every week or not. It's what I feel like I should do. And
Yes.
so that we do have the flexibility to adapt and grow and change.
And change. Key point. You get to change your mind. That's generally what I tell people when I see them hesitating to take the step towards the thing they want to do because of imposter syndrome or their fears or limiting beliefs or whatever the la 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 is that's going on in their heads is just start it. You can always decide not to. You can always change your mind. This is,
Mhm.
this comes into play also with people who are looking for jobs. You're applying for a new role. You, first of all, you are deciding if you're going to work for that company just as much as they are deciding if they want you to. It's a two-way street. But also,
Mhm.
you can decide 6 months down the road that it's not what you want any longer and you can leave. Like you get to change your mind.
Yeah.
It's the biggest thing I like to tell people. So what do you think surprised you most in the podcast journey?
Hmm. How I just met being interviewing people, you meet some amazing people. I know
Mm-hmm.
you've felt that as well,
Mm-hmm.
is having so much fun with that. Um, I don't know if it's a surprise, but figuring out all of the back end stuff was a challenge.
Yep.
And, when I started it, I had someone supporting me, and then all of a sudden they just upped and quit, and you're in the middle of everything, and you're
Oh,
trying to
yeah.
maneuver who's doing your editing, who's helping with graphics, and all of the kind of
Yep.
stuff
Yep.
that I don't do. I have help doing that, and so and just it's going to work out where the resources are there. I just and it ended up working out better than the individual that was working for me before. So
Yes.
it's just all of those kind of things, and those are the things that you worry about when you started. It's like, well,
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know how to do this, and what if you don't do that, and
Yeah. Yeah.
all of that. So but that happened in the middle. I can't remember which year it was,
Yep.
but, they just don't they just quit. You give them the work and they just quit doing it. There's no
Yep.
notice, nothing.
Yeah. They're like, what? Didn't see that coming. Okay, great. Let's pivot.
Exactly.
Yes.
So where's my resource? And shifting to the new place that was able to do it, and end up actually working even smoother than before. But there's those moments of panic when we have those kind of things. So that was a surprise. It wasn't a
Yeah.
good one, but well, it
Yeah. Yeah.
ended up being good, but it didn't feel good at first.
It's funny how those
Um,
moments that feel terrible at first, you're like, this is horrible. Why is this happening to me? And then you realize, oh no, this happened for you because you end up in a better spot than you were
yeah.
beforehand.
And a lot of it was a shift I made because I could have made it miserable and not ever found the solution I was really looking for
100%.
if I continued to complain and to be upset and mad because this individual did this.
Yes.
Um, but I didn't. I take everything to prayer and where are my resources that I need to do to continue this. And if I have to delay a week for a podcast, it's not the end of the world,
It's not the
It's
end of the world. Yeah.
so just going with it with grace and ease and looking for the resources and asking questions. There's always someone we can ask for resources too,
Yes.
besides Google.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and don't discount Google. It's so
Yep.
funny. Every time I think of this story often. So I have two older girls, and my second daughter, when she was in high school, she graduated in 2014. So this tells you the time of, the year that it was. So she's
Mhm.
in high school. I came into her room to check on her while she was doing homework, and she said, "Hey mom, do you remember how to do blah blah blah, whatever the thing was?" And I said, "Oh my gosh, no, that's been a long time. I don't remember." And she was like, "Oh, fine, I'll just Google." And I was like, "Hold on a second. This is not fair. This is not how it was when I went to high school. Just so you know, there was no, oh gosh, I'll just Google, and you were inconvenienced with having to Google. Like, okay,
Let's get real here.
let's get real.
There was no YouTube video describing how to do
No,
that.
no. And it's a good reminder to me, not that I need this, because listen, YouTube has taught me how to, as a single mom, how to do a lot of stuff around the house.
Mhm.
I I learned how to change the door handle in my car from YouTube.
Mhm.
I'm like, "What? This is not something I thought I would want to know, need to know." But here we were. I did it. But I think that's a good reminder for a lot of people, is just that it doesn't matter what it is that you are wanting to do, or if you know how to do it, ask the questions and get curious. And there is someone out there who will be
Yep.
ever so happy to show you. And they probably have created a video to show you
They
the
probably
steps.
have. They probably have. At this point, there's probably multiple videos.
Oh, for sure. For sure. So the information is there. We're definitely in the information age. Well, speaking of information, how can people find you?
Well, I am on most of the social media platforms, and my name is unusual, so that's pretty easy to find. And my website is the best place to find me, and that is the letter I, vibrantliving.com.
Fabulous. Well, I will definitely include that along with all the other links where people can find you very easily in the show notes. But I cannot thank you enough for joining me today. It was a lovely conversation. So nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Thank you.
Well, hey, thanks for listening today. And thank you for your reviews. They mean so much to me and they help this podcast grow. I just love reading them. So if you haven't left one yet, please do. Now, listener, are you having your own start again moment? Your path to thriving after divorce is here. The future may be uncertain, but there is hope. We know that losing your identity as a wife can be disheartening, and the grief that follows is humbling. In fact, it can feel crippling. But if you are ready to get back on your feet, download my Start Again guide to get you pointed in the right direction. You can find it at shaunalee.com/startagain.